Throughout the UK, people are facing additional financial pressure as a result of the cost of living crisis. This has had a profound impact on people's living standards as they are faced with daily choices about what they can and cannot do in their homes. In a lot of cases, people are finding that they do not have the financial means to heat their homes. St Helens Borough Council is committed to supporting its residents through this difficult time, putting people at the heart of everything we do. St Helens Borough Council is working with local partners, charitable and community organisations to ensure that we can provide warm and safe public spaces for our residents during this difficult time. This presentation aims to heighten your awareness of the potential issues you may encounter within your buildings during this time. This section will cover all of the essential steps for safeguarding vulnerable adults and children when they disclose something of a serious nature to you. What is safeguarding? Safeguarding is protecting a person's right to live safely, free from abuse and neglect. What is abuse? Abuse is when someone does or says something to a person to make them feel frightened or upset. People who are being abused may be too frightened to speak out against the person who is harming them, or the person who has caused the harm does not recognise that their actions are abusive. How to recognise abuse? There are various types of abuse. This can include physical, hitting, hair pulling, kicking, control over medication; financial, taking money or belongings without permission, having no say how their money is being used; sexual, unwanted touching, making people perform sexual acts that make them feel sad, angry, or frightened; psychological, shouting, ignoring, laughing, or name-calling; discriminatory, treating others differently because of disability, skin colour, or the way someone talks; neglect, not providing sufficient care, such as keeping people hungry or unclean. How do I respond to someone who has disclosed something to me? Respond positively and calmly to the person, being mindful not to show shock, alarm, or bias. Reassure the person that they have done the right thing in sharing their fears and worries with you. Explain what you will do to help them. Receive the information by being fully present and focused when the person is talking to you. Take note of all significant points shared. Record the information as immediately as possible, but not in front of the person. Record facts only, as well as the time and date of the record, as this may be used as evidence in court. Report the disclosure immediately to your manager, volunteer coordinator, lead person on duty, and/or make a referral to the contact cares team. How do I raise a safeguarding concern for a vulnerable adult? If you have a concern, please contact Adult Social Care, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Telephone 01744 676767. Email contactcares@sthelens.gov.uk. If you have concerns that a person is in danger outside of those hours, please contact the Emergency Duty Team, EDT. Telephone 0845 050 0148. If you believe that a person is at immediate risk, you should report this without delay to the police service on 999. If you believe that a child or young person is at immediate risk, you should report this without delay to the police service on 999. If a child is not in immediate danger, you can do one of the following. Call the contact centre on 01744 676767 and tell them that you have a concern about a child. Out of office hours, call the Emergency Duty Team, EDT, on 0845 050 0148. Call Merseyside Police on 0151 709 6010, 24-hour line. Contact the NSPCC helpline on 0808 800 5000. When calling, try to give as much information as you remember, telling the person on the phone who has been abused and who did the abuse, what happened, when the abuse took place and where the abuse took place is very useful. In a lot of cases, working in a public building places you in a position where you are the first point of contact for members of the public. On occasion, you may find yourself in a situation where a member of the public may be agitated or angry. It is important to follow the steps that could alleviate a potential confrontation that could place you or others in danger. When dealing with someone who is angry, it is good practice to avoid or de-escalate the potential for conflict by demonstrating that you understand their point of view or the situation they are explaining. To achieve this, aim to speak to the person in a quiet area if it is safe to do so the person does not feel additional pressures of being observed by others. Sit next to the person as opposed to sitting behind a desk or counter, as this may appear closed off. When dealing with someone who is angry, it is good practice to avoid or de-escalate the potential for conflict by demonstrating that you understand their point of view or the situation they are explaining. To achieve this, avoid using closed questions so the person does not feel interrogated or inhibited of their ability to elaborate on the issue. Be mindful of your body language. Avoid crossing your arms or taking your focus off the person. Aim to be present at all times. When dealing with someone who is angry, it is good practice to avoid or de-escalate the potential for conflict by demonstrating that you understand their point of view or the situation they are explaining. To achieve this, demonstrate that you have been listening, summarize what has been said, and ask clarifying questions to show that you understand. Avoid making promises that you may not be able to keep in order to quickly appease someone. This may make the situation worse at a later point. When dealing with someone who is angry, it is good practice to avoid or de-escalate the potential for conflict by demonstrating that you understand their point of view or the situation they are explaining. To achieve this, gather as much information as possible to ensure that the person can be directed to the correct service. Do not be afraid to ask colleagues for support if needed. For more information about dealing with conflict and confrontation, please speak with the lead coordinator for your location. As a first point of contact, you may be asked about council services delivered within the borough. Alternatively, you may be asked where to find information about other services not delivered by the council, such as services delivered by community groups or government initiatives and support. In this section, you will learn how to provide accurate information as well as knowing when referrals need to be made. Listen. We think of our residents as our customers and will always strive to give them the best service. Listen carefully to what information or advice the customer is asking for. Do not be afraid to ask clarifying questions to ensure that there is no ambiguity, which may lead to you misunderstanding what is being asked and then providing the wrong information. Communicate clearly. Be mindful of how your customer communicates with you. Avoid using jargon or terminology. Some customers may require additional support. Perhaps English is not their first language, or they have a hearing impairment. Do not speak too quickly or too quietly. Make sure you are always facing the customer when speaking. Credible and accurate information. When providing information to a customer, make sure what you are providing is accurate. Avoid using unsubstantiated sources from the internet or information based on opinion. Websites with the suffix of .gov, .org or .ac, i.e. sthelens.gov.uk, will be able to provide reliable information. If providing information on a council service, make sure that you are sourcing the information from the council website. Communication methods. Some customers may prefer receiving information verbally. However, some may prefer receiving information in alternative ways. Always check whether customers would prefer to receive information in writing, such as a letter or email. Some customers may not have access to email or the internet, or they may wish to receive the information by phone, if the information is not readily available to them when visiting your building. Signposting and referring. You may receive an enquiry for a specific council service where you can readily signpost them towards the information. For example, this may be contact information to claim for free school meals. In other instances, you may be able to refer a customer to a service and help them arrange a meeting with a specific team. Be clear about the limits of your role and never assume responsibilities for the services provided by other teams. It is better customer care to point people towards the right service who can help them properly. Your workplace will already have health and safety policies and procedures in place that you should be aware of. It is vitally important that you take the time to acquaint or refresh yourself with the existing risk assessments and evacuation procedures. Physical copies of departmental procedures and risk assessments will be available in your building. Please contact the lead person in your location to access these documents and for further support with the building procedures. Throughout the course of your day, it is likely that you will engage in conversations with your customers. During some of the conversations, a customer may disclose something personal or sensitive. This could include concerns about money or the difficulties they are facing as a result of the cost of living crisis. It is imperative that these conversations are kept confidential and not shared with anyone else without consent. In certain circumstances, you may be having a conversation with a customer who is confiding in you around other people. This may be based on a request for information or support. Take steps to ensure that you are preserving the trust and dignity of that person by being mindful of how loud you are speaking, speak somewhere more privately if possible, and how you provide information. Be more discreet. A customer may disclose something of concern, potentially relating to a safeguarding issue. In these circumstances, you cannot promise to keep a secret if the information relates to the safety of others. You have a duty to share information of any concern in these circumstances. In addition to maintaining confidentiality with speaking with your customers, you are also legally bound to adhere to UK General Data Protection Regulations, UK GDPR, when dealing with information about people. You may hold personal information about customers on a dedicated system or database, such as a library management system or members list for a leisure centre. The information on these systems cannot be shared with others. Please contact the lead person at your location for further support or questions on this subject.